Y'all already know, man. We back with another one. Got to get into this video, man. Tupac was trying to warn Method Man about Diddy, man. Let's see what's to it. Make sure y'all hit that like button. Make sure y'all hit that subscribe button.
It's like, Meth, come on, get in the car. I'm like, what the f? I'm not making a connection here. And I'm like, oh, that's Puff car. There ain't no way I'm getting in that fucking car. I look at Pac, and Pac got a whole different face. His face looked like that picture. Before he died, that face he had, that look. He had that look on his face. You know what I mean?
Man, Tupac and Suge tried to tell y'all for years Diddy wasn't right.
So do you think Puffy was involved in the shooting?
I believe so. I do believe so. I have proved things that I could say that will back up my claim, but this is not for the world to know about. You know what I mean? It's between me and him, and only he knows. So every time he say it didn't happen or that's the only thing that makes this become an issue to everybody. If you're gonna act like you a gangster or a G or the king of New York, I'm gonna expect that. And when you don't come through, then I'm gonna wanna crush your empire. And that's what it's time for.
Method Man is finally speaking out about a conversation he had with Tupac shortly before Pac was killed. And it sounds like Pac was trying to warn Method Man that Diddy wasn't who he pretended to be, and that the industry was being manipulated behind the scenes in ways most artists didn't even realize at the time. Now, before people try to write this off as some made-up story, the truth is Tupac and Method Man actually had a real connection. They collaborated on Got My Mind Made Up, which came out in 1996, just months before Pac was killed. Pac went out of his way to keep working with East Coast rappers he respected, even while beefing with Bad Boy. And out of all the East Coast names, Pac always made it clear that Meth was one of the few he trusted. And here's where it gets interesting. In one of their last conversations, Pac apparently told Meth to watch out for certain people, and Diddy's name came up. And while Meth didn't give away every detail, he did say that there was a time Diddy tried to get him to leave a party with him. But Meth said something felt off, so he turned down the ride. And looking back, Meth admitted that both he and Pac were paranoid during that time. And honestly, with everything going on, they had every reason to be.
But Puffy, P. Diddy, and you around a bunch of other motherfuckers. Showtime, baby. And
So to give you some context first, Method Man was one of the few East Coast rappers who managed to stay neutral during the whole East Coast-West Coast mess. While most people were either picking sides or getting dragged into the drama, Meth kept his respect on both coasts. He worked with Biggie and Diddy early on, but he also had real love for Pac and didn't let the media pit him against anyone. He wasn't about that fake industry loyalty. He just wanted to rap, stay true to his people, and avoid the politics. And that's probably why Pac trusted him enough to speak freely, because he knew Meth wasn't playing both sides. He was just trying to survive the chaos. Now, Method Man has always been the type to stay out of the gossip, and even with all the craziness surrounding Diddy lately, he's mostly stayed quiet and kept it moving. That's how he's always handled the industry. Stay solid, don't speak on what doesn't need speaking on. But an old interview with Meth is making rounds again, and it's got people looking at things differently. So in this interview, Meth talks about the night he met both Diddy and Tupac, literally on the same night. This took place in a party in LA, and Meth said Pac walked straight up to him and showed nothing but respect. And what stood out was that Pac brought up the Wu-Tang chain situation when RZA got his chain snatched at Club 662.
We on our way out. Lights come on at the end of the party. Party over. Lights come on. I'm blowed now. I'm like, shoo. Feel a tap on my shoulder. Turn around. It's Pac. Last but I ain't seen all night. I ain't know he was even in there. I turn around. Pac there. He's like, yo, wanna holler at anybody? Next thing I know, cameras everywhere. So while he's saying this, I remember an altercation happened with RZA in Vegas. Something happened with the chain, and Pac was trying to tell me, if I was there, that would never happen. Blah, 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 blah. And I remember looking up, and Suge was like this with the cigar in his mouth, looking down at me like this. So I'm like, damn, I'm just on a plane with this. He looking at me crazy right now, So then I look at Pac, and Pac got a whole different face. His face looked like that picture before he died. That face he had, that look. He had that look on his face. You know what I mean?
Suge kept a cigar with him everywhere he went for no reason. Just a cigar for no reason. Just smoking a cigar for absolutely nothing.
And I remember looking back down, and I couldn't understand anything he was saying after that because mad was going through my head, and I'm looking at the death row piece on his chain. Then he was like, yeah, we gonna all meet up. And I was like, yeah, you know how men do it. We handle our business. Walked out. Soon as I walked out the club, Tracy Waples Love Trey Wap.
Executive label executive,
yeah.
Worked behind the scenes for a long time.
She outside in a Benz like, Meth, come on, get.
By the way, Pac would later say in another interview that he personally found who stole the chain and then gave Wu-Tang the message that if they wanted to see the dudes that did it, they could see him. But here's where it gets weird. Meth said that as soon as he finished talking to Pac, Diddy sent someone to try and get Meth to hop in his car and leave with him. Luckily, Meth said he didn't like the vibe and turned it down.
Walked out. Soon as I walked out the club, Tracy Waples. Love Trey Wap.
Executive label executive,
yeah.
Worked behind the scenes for a long time.
She outside in a Benz like, Meth, come on, get in the car. I'm like, what the I'm not making a connection here. And I'm like, oh, that's Puff car. That's Puffy car. Ain't no way I'm getting it. No.
Meth said he wasn't getting in that car with Puffy at all under no circumstances. Ain't taking that ride. Puffy was trying to get people to come to the parties back then. Y'all heard what he told Fab. Yeah, you ain't never party with me though. But I like the way you scraping and scrambling, Daddy. Meek was there though. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is.
And now with everything coming out about these private Diddy parties, that small moment suddenly feels way more loaded. Meth didn't say anything wild in that interview. He just told the story straight. But fans are reading between the lines now, especially knowing what we know about Diddy's behind-the-scenes behavior and how he was recruiting rappers to party with him.
Hennessy, come out and play.
Straight weirdo, dweeb.
And if you really pay attention, Method Man's been dropping warnings for a while. He just never spelled it out directly. One of his biggest clues was his verse on Suspect Chin Music, where he raps, "They got me fed up from the head up, put up or shut up. On stage in them shiny get-ups, ninjas is funny. Energizer bunny actors. They hustle backwards. Son, I think they gay rappers." And it's not hard to connect the dots. Meth was clearly side-eyeing the flashy, fake gangsta artists who were dominating the scene. And let's be real, that screams Bad Boy era. Now at the time, it probably flew under the radar because no one wanted to touch those topics out loud. But now, in light of everything surfacing about Diddy, it looks like Meth might have been one of the few who saw it early and decided to speak in code. But what about Tupac? What exactly did he warn Meth about? Well, according to people close to Pac and what fans are piecing together now, it wasn't just about the rap beef or surface level drama. Pac had already started to see Diddy as more than just a rival. He saw him as a part of a system that was using the industry to control, silence, and exploit artists. Pac believed Diddy wasn't just playing the game. He was helping to rig it. Whether it was through shady contracts, weird parties, or backdoor deals, Pac saw something fake in the image Diddy was pushing. And he didn't want Meth to fall for it. But it actually gets even darker when you go back to Tupac's infamous Vibe magazine interview from 1996. In that interview, Pac straight up said that some of the biggest names in the industry were guilty of the worst kinds of crimes, including pedophile stuff. And yet somehow they were the ones being protected by the system. Meanwhile, he was being dragged through the mud and thrown in jail over what he always claimed was a false accusation. And while Pac didn't name Diddy directly in that part, the entire interview was basically aimed at Bad Boy and everyone backing them.
And that was absolutely false. Shorty went on Vlad and said she lied about the whole thing. Crazy.
So if you read between the lines, it's not hard to figure out who he was pointing at.
Because they disrespected me, my name, my family, what I had been through. They said that I couldn't be in pain. I could not feel, I could not be hurt. In my moment of pain, when I was shot 5 times in jail for a crime I didn't commit, while every other black person, I mean, whoever they was in the ass or them in 50 pieces, I support. I go to jail for a crime everybody know I did not commit. Times, and I'm getting jail, wompty, they just saying anything to assassinate my character. What that showed me, remember this lack of a conscience when I come out. Remember this lack of mercy when I come out. Remember this lack of compassion when I come out. And I will do anything to protect and feed my family. And these represent a threat.
But that's not all. Another old interview recently resurfaced where Suge Knight kind of hinted at something similar and said that Tupac was worried that some industry men who were on the DL might harm little ones.
If it was a rapper that messed with guys and go both ways, Pac didn't feel that was good. Because Pac felt he was real serious about the music. So if you're a producer or you rap, and regardless if you're married or not, and you got a boyfriend that works for you, a real boyfriend who used to be a dancer, Pac would study all the facts. Pac was real smart. So before he say something, he'll go do his homework. He'll say, okay, this guy right here, they say he gay, he go both ways. I'm not gonna put it out there on him yet, but I'm gonna do my research, and if it's true, the world should know. Because this guy might be around one of those little kids one day and mess around with them, and you know, so I'm gonna do it to actually save him from molesting a little child. That's why Pac attacked certain rappers and said they gay.
And looking back at all this now, it's clear Tupac was way ahead of his time. He wasn't just calling out fake friends or shady business, he was trying to expose something much bigger. Pac saw early on that what Diddy was doing wasn't just about winning a rap beef. He suspected Diddy was part of a deeper, darker machine, a network of protected elites inside the music industry, doing whatever they wanted behind closed doors, with full immunity. And Pac was one of the only people bold enough to try and pull the curtain back, which is probably why he ended up being targeted so aggressively. And it's wild when you really think about it. Tupac was the one who was followed and spied on by the FBI for years.
So they saw that COINTELPRO, the counterintelligence program set up by J. Edgar Hoover, saw that the...
Now, ain't it crazy that the FBI was following Pac and doing all that for years, but went around when he got shot? Why not? Nah, just think about it. They just whooped Orlando Anderson, right? So it still should be police everywhere, chaos, you know. It's still people looking for Suge and Pac, all this going on. But soon as Pac gets shot, no police, fed, nobody show up till way after. Crazy.
Panthers were doing a damn good job because all over the country they got this buzz. Similar to how Thug Life is. So, Thug Life? Thug Life. Thug Life. Yeah. So now, the Panthers got everybody talking about the Panthers and we want to be free and we want decent housing. We're talking good, not just bitch hole, you know, straight good. And they start infiltrating. Now, why would they do this to a young black organization? And why would you not think they would do it to me? They infiltrated them, meaning they got people to say that they were Panthers, they joined the Panthers, and they would start the ruckus. Like, say, let's go shoot up the botanical gardens or some shit. You know what I'm saying? And do it in the name of the Panthers, but it's a cop. You know what I'm saying? And everybody think it's the Panthers because he's dressed like a Panther. You know what I'm saying? And he's screaming the Panthers, but he's a cop. He's been sent by the FBI. They got papers to document this shit. You know what I'm saying?
The FBI also compiled a massive database on Pac with over 4,000 pages of documentation. And to this day, they have only released about 100 pages. And even those 100 are redacted. Meanwhile, Diddy, who's now facing multiple lawsuits and disturbing allegations from people who were around him for years, was being protected. Not watched, protected. The same law enforcement agencies that were watching Pac's every move seemed to turn a blind eye to what Diddy was doing. And now, decades later, all the stuff that Pac was hinting at is starting to make sense. Which brings us back to Method Man. Fans are now saying he might have had a lucky escape. If he had taken that ride with Diddy that night, who knows what would have happened. Maybe nothing, or maybe he would have ended up stuck in something he couldn't get out of. But let's hear your thoughts on all this. Was Pac trying to warn?
Yeah, man, that's crazy. But Pac definitely tried to tell the whole world about everything that Diddy was doing and everything that Diddy had going on. You know what I'm saying? Y'all make sure y'all check the playlist out. It's your boy Buddha. I'm out.